Hey, Bills Mafia. We know there's only one topic every day. All Bills, all the time. And now Matt Beauvais and Sal Capaccio are going really deep, talking Bills all year long, because it's always game day in Buffalo.
You know, I think back to the offseason when people say, how about the AFC East this year? And you're like, yeah, you know, the Patriots might be the next best team, but they're nowhere on the Bills level yet. They're a few maybe a year away from that. Well, here we are. Holy cow. The Bills chasing the Patriots, looking up at them. The Patriots have a chance to end the Bills' 5-year run atop the division. And we're going to talk about it all and how it unfolded this year in this game with our good friends over at the Six Rings podcast, Mego and Nick Fitzy Stevens. Sal Capaccio, Matt Beauvais, welcome in. I can't believe it. Week 5 come and go, and yeah, Patriots beat the Bills, and now here we are again, guys, and thinking about division championships maybe back in New England.
Yeah, how great to be back with you guys. It wasn't game day in New England for a long time because obviously we were caught in our football fields, and I know you could fill Lake Erie with how little everybody cares for New England fans and our sadness that we went through post Tom Brady, leading up and through the Gerard Mayo error up until Mike Vrabel's hiring. I think we were all just as shocked as you guys were at the Week 5 result. That Sunday night, you guys were a much bigger favorite. That was a shocking game. I think it was the best played game the Patriots put forth all year. And now to think that a Josh Allen clone that was grown in a North Carolina football lab alongside Josh's former, best football friend, Stephon Diggs, are trying to rear view you guys to take back the crown that Brady and Belichick held for 20 years. I mean, as far as Week 15, 1 p.m. tilts go, this is about as dramatic, action-packed, and storyline-filled as it gets. I personally cannot freaking wait.
I think that's the thing that Bills fans are so fed up with. I don't even think it's really the division. I think that Bills fans, at least my perspective, is, well, if the Patriots win the division, which very much looks like it's going to happen, let's see what happens in a month when they both are ultimately in the playoffs. I think the frustration is, how the hell did they already get their quarterback? Because here in Buffalo, it was so long until they finally were able to find a quarterback. And I think that's the thing that admittedly has people really agitated of like, come on, we finally got a guy. And then a couple years later, they also got a guy. Like, I think that's what's annoying to Bills fans. It's not even the division, because I think maybe it's just like the stages of grief. I think Bills fans are already realizing they're not winning the division this year.
Are you in acceptance already, guys? No.
I don't think there's I don't
acceptance of what? What's
losing the division?
I think that mathematically people know that this is a tough lift for the Bills. Like, nobody's expecting the Bills to actually take over the division here. I think to Matt's point, though, Fitzy, and by the way, Matt Beauvais there too. There's Fitzy. There's Meg. Hi, everybody. Right? I mean, you listen and watch us and all that. We're doing this crossover thing. So if you hear a bunch of voices, that's why, and either pod that you're listening to. I think the big thing for the Bills fans, though, it's not the acceptance of the division. To Matt's point, what's going to happen in the playoffs? They might match up. They might not. But, okay, take the division. If the Bills can't get by them in the playoffs, then we have a real issue here going forward.
Yeah, to me, I know that a lot of people hate the idea of doing the head-to-head quarterback comparisons because the quarterbacks play the defense. They don't exactly play each other. But what has to be frustrating from my perspective, if you're a Bills fan, is that not only did it take you a while to find Josh Allen, but it took Josh Allen a while to develop into Josh Allen. And you look at Drake Maye, and it took him a year, like not even a full season, and to become somebody who can go toe-to-toe with Josh Allen. It was interesting talking to Mike Vrabel yesterday, in that both of these quarterbacks, when they're at their best, there's just no solution to them. There were solutions to Brady. As tough as Brady was, there were solutions. There were things that you could do to contain him. These guys, we know what happens. We saw what happened the other night if you try to play man against Josh and he takes off and runs. Same thing with Drake. If you put a soft zone up against them, you see the same thing. So I actually think that if both these quarterbacks are playing their best, as we expect with what's on the line here with the AFC East, it'll come down to the defensive play in this matchup on Sunday.
Okay,
go ahead, Sal.
I want to ask, though, Meg, when you say that, okay?
Yeah.
And you say toe-to-toe with Josh, I think what still needs to be answered And look, I'm a Drake Maye fan. I think he's amazing, right? So I think this kid is going to be a superstar. But
This sounds like a qualifier.
no, I think the question though is, because we haven't seen it yet, because of the way the Patriots play, can they get into a shootout like the Bills did with the Bengals and still win a game like that? Like, that's not how they prefer to play a game, right? The Patriots. So
They play from ahead, yeah.
That's right. So the question is, when you say toe to toe, are Patriots fans, would they be confident if a game got like that in a track meet, would Drake Maye be able to match Josh Allen?
Well, you say that, but at the same time, are you saying that the Patriots are usually front runners, and so that's how they prefer to play the game?
No, I think they prefer to play the game the way they played here in Week 5, which is they're going to capitalize on your mistakes. They're going to make it messy for you. They're going to make it a tough time. And at the end of the day, you're like, holy cow, how did they do this? And they're right there. The Bills sometimes have to, because of their defense, have to play a game where they win 39-34.
Right. And it feels like Mego, like I think we've seen this play out a million times thus far this season, where the Patriots let the other team the other team scores first, usually a touchdown over a field goal, and then the machine sort of incorporates the data and figures out, okay, this is what they're doing. Let the game present itself. And the intelligence of the defensive hive mind of Vrabel, Zach Kerr filling in for Terrell Williams, and obviously Josh McDaniels, who I think the more I look at it, the more he may be the MVP of the triumvirate of Vrabel and Drake Maye and Josh McDaniels, just for the way that he's developed this kid, helped develop this kid, and has called the games this year. They take the data in and they figure out what to do, take advantage of your mistakes, expose weaknesses, play to the team's strengths, and they build a lead, and then they hold on to it. And they're not throttling any teams the way the 2007 Patriots did, where it's get up 21-3 and then attack and deep to Moss again and Welker over the middle. It's try to get a 12 to 18 point lead and do what you can to hold on to it. The problem is, and I think that's almost the way I want to see this game go, because I think the more challenges these Patriots can face along the way, the better to gird and prepare them for the difficulties of making a postseason, if not Super Bowl run. I want to see Drake Maye in a shootout with Josh Allen, not a low-scoring, cold Sunday night affair that leads to an epic 23-20 win. I mean, like, no, deal with a Josh 43-yard touchdown run. Deal with a 57-yard bomb out of nowhere to Gabe Davis. Deal with a James Cook 21-yard touchdown run where he doesn't try to reach across to the pylon, and then see how the Patriots can respond. These are the tests they need to face and answer Sunday.
I don't want to pour cold water on the matchup, but I'm going to. Let me ask you this, and this is more of like the Buffalo perspective and wondering how you guys feel on the other side. I really, truly believe that even if the Patriots win this game and they win the division, I think the national narrative, and probably the narrative in New England, is going to be like the torch has been passed. The Patriots own the AFC East once again. I don't know if that's true until you get to the playoffs, because if they play again, and let's say the Bills win in the playoffs, or they don't get a chance to because the Patriots have already been eliminated, or whatever, I just feel like we might be getting ahead of ourselves a little bit with the blanket statements. Because go ahead, Meg. I'm sorry.
No, I totally agree with that. And I agree with it because the lack of experience in the major playmakers, and honestly, the lack of experience with Mike Vrabel as the Patriots coach. So a lot of this is, we don't know who Drake Maye is going to be in the postseason. We have a record, for example, with a tremendous quarterback, not this season, but in past seasons, in Lamar Jackson. And a lot of times he looks like a different quarterback in the playoffs than he does during some of his fantastic regular season performances in the past. Could Drake Maye be someone like that? Or is he going to be somebody who really levels up like a Joe Burrow? I think that's a totally fair, cold water pouring that you did there to say, well, let's pump the brakes here before we declare them the kings of the AFC East again.
I just think too, Sal, real quick. I think right now, if you could fast forward things to like a month from now, and the Bills aren't even in the playoffs yet. The Patriots are getting there for sure. The Bills have to win at least one more game and they're going to get there. I think right now, if you told Bills fans that the Bills were going to New England in the divisional round, almost every single Bills fan would love their chances. And that, I think, is more to the point that Meg just made about the questions and potential inexperience of Maye than it is the team as a whole. Because I really do think the AFC is fairly open. And once again, the Bills have to get there. But the Buffalo perspective right now is that they might have the easiest path to the Super Bowl that they have had in 5 years with the worst team they have had in 5 years.
Despite having to go on the road maybe for every game.
So now here we are doing these mental gymnastics of what is more important, a really great team or an easier path? And that seems like a no-brainer. The better team should be the answer. But they've had better teams and still fallen short. So now we're like doing these, hey, well, what if they don't have to play Pat or Lamar or Burrow or some of these guys that they've had to play, and can they still ultimately go on a run? So that's why this game is really important. But the Patriots are going to win the AFC East, and they're going to get to the playoffs, and I think the Bills are too. So that's why I'm like, it matters, but only kind of.
Sal, what does the remaining Bills schedule say to you?
They'll
11 wins, 12 wins, maybe.
They could lose to Philly for sure, but they could also beat Philly. They're going to beat Cleveland most likely. They're going to beat the Jets most likely. Last game at Highmark Stadium, so we all know what needs to happen here. The Bills have to beat the Patriots, and the Patriots have to lose to either the Jets or Dolphins. The Ravens game pretty much does not matter to them for division purposes, right? And who knows? The Dolphins are playing a lot better now. You never know what could happen in a game like that, right? So it says to me that the Bills are going to get to the playoffs, and they're going to be the 5 seed, and Bills fans are like, yes! Instead of playing Kansas City coming to you or Baltimore coming to you, we go to Pittsburgh, please. We go to Jacksonville, please. And then the next game is what? At Denver, at New England. To Matt's point, absolutely Bills fans want to take that.
The one thing I'll say too, sorry, Nick, is one thing I'll say is I feel like a Bills win on Sunday, the most gratifying part of that, at least in Buffalo, might be that the Patriots aren't going to get the 1 seed. And I think that's probably the thing that would be like the little knife into the side of like, hey, you're still going to win the AFC East. You're probably going to be the 2 seed, but you don't get that first round bye, which is so valuable. And
you might have to play Houston, by the way.
And what if the Texans are the 7 seed?
Nobody wants a face full of Al-Shahir, Petre, Danielle Hunter, and Will Anderson, especially when you've got old man Moses on the right side and Will Campbell coming off of a torn MCL on the left side as well. And the Patriots line has been better-ish than it's been last year. It hasn't been so much markedly better, so revamped that it's like that we're talking about, one of the 1998 Broncos or something like that. It's better, but it's certainly fallible. And the Texans are the team I think I would least rather want to see in an opening round playoff game. And I get it. If the Bills want to, if they realize they're losing the fight, but you guys want to send us into the corner with a body blow that breaks a rib or something like that, going forward where it's like, oh man, we're bleeding on our way into the postseason, and then we have to face the Bills again. That would be something. And I just want to remind everybody, Drake Maye is having a spectacular sophomore season. The way it doesn't make sense. He has broken so many models and algorithms about how he has been able to ascend to this level of excellence. He's playing at an efficient rate with a downfield dynamic to his game, the likes of which we've never seen before. Agreed. I'm actually, quite frankly, sick and tired on the Six Rings postgame show of reading there's only one quarterback over the last 8 games that has thrown for 249.3 yards, run for 26, and thrown 2 touchdowns with no interceptions. It's Drake Maye, end of tweet. That's great. But what's going to happen when he stares down the real Superman who has done it and established it and been to the postseason a number of times and proves last week, we're not just facing Josh Allen's passing game and James Cook's running game. And I know he's got over 1,300 yards, and next to McCaffrey is the guy that's touched the ball the most over the past 2 years, and he should be worried about and accounted for in every play. Josh Allen is now officially entering blanket I'll do it myself season. We saw it on the 40-yard touchdown run last week. And is Drake Maye willing to do the same kinds of things? Is he willing to tuck it and run or take the extra hit when you guys need 4? Will he fight for 5? Josh Allen will do it because he has saved himself up for occasions like this. So I just want Pats fans to be prepared for the fact that they are facing a different animal. And between the 2 animals that are facing off this week, one animal is savage, but is has been fed well on the hunt. The other is a cornered badger from Buffalo with lake effect anger that is going to be ready for a 4-quarter fight on Sunday.
So this is the point I brought up with Meg earlier. I'm glad you brought it up because Drake Maye has had an amazing season. He's not thrown for over 300 yards. He also not thrown for less than 200 yards all year, right? Like it's been between 2 and 3. He is so consistent. It's amazing. So when I say, can he get into a game like that? Can he play a game like that? Because we saw Josh do it and we know he can do it. And yes, lack of outside weapons. We hear all of that. So I'll ask you this question, Meg, what you've seen from Drake Maye and how he is hitting. I mean, every time I look up, it's third. I'm following the game, by the way. This is how it works for me. I'm on the Bills sideline. There's a 1 p.m. Sunday game. I'm watching the Bills game, but I'm checking scores around the league for, what's happening. And I'm like, oh, Patriots, another 3rd and 11. Oh, he just completed a 14-yard pass. Oh, Patriots 3rd and 9. Oh, he just completed another 52-yard pass for a touchdown. Is it sustainable, though? Because we've seen that's what I wonder, too. Is it sustainable to keep doing that? Every time I look up, this guy, Meg, is just hitting deep ball after deep ball after deep ball. And I'm like, there's no way you can keep doing that in this league. Can you?
So, Sal, what I'll say is that I have been probably the closest to a hyper cynic about this offense of anybody on our station. I have been waiting for the air to come out of the balloon and to look at Kayshon Boutte or look at, you're very familiar with our friend Stefon Diggs, and say, these guys can't keep having performances like this. And I'm not just talking about a 146-yard performance from Stefon Diggs in Buffalo. Nobody expects that from a receiver week to week. But it doesn't have, it just keeps going. It keeps going. So I'm done saying that it's not sustainable, especially with the position that their run game is in. The reason why I think that they're well poised to go toe-to-toe, these two quarterbacks, is because the passing game is really most of what the Patriots have. If they don't have the passing game, then it's going to be something close to a blowout with a Buffalo win. And I just don't see that, primarily because talking to these guys in the locker room, the messaging from Vrabel is so fresh right now. Mm-hmm. And even yesterday, them learning at their lockers that Vegas had them as underdogs going into this game. I can only imagine the bulletin board material that Vrabel is giving them in meetings. These guys, they take everything that Vrabel says. Vrabel will say something in the morning. We'll hear it from them in the afternoon from 3 different guys' mouths. I mean, the messaging is that fresh. And because they've been winning so much, they really put it into action. And I don't think that that's something that can be overstated because of I don't want to say like belief, but these guys are so bought in that I think that whatever game plan he puts forward, and Stretch and the rest of his McDaniels, the rest of his crew, they are going to execute to a T. And I think that's why it's continued to be as consistent as it is. And they don't let up in one game. They might let up during a game, but they don't let up for an entire game.
That's the whole mantra too. They go by no naps. And I'll back up what Meg has said. They are emotional hive mind right now. Like they are all neuro linked and connected. And you've got guys like Christian Ellis, the dude who lit up everybody, including Jackson Dart in the Monday night game, literally saying like, this locker room is so great, I would die for anyone in there. Not just Will Campbell on the stage going, I'd die for Drake Maye. I mean, like, no, we're talking, these guys are like, it's 53 interlocked arm in arm, ready for battle every Sunday. Again, something else that'll make this Sunday so great.
Just one quick point, because I think the wide receiver room in particular, they were bottom of the barrel in terms of statistics last year. This year, it's not, Steph Diggs and everybody else. It's every week is somebody else's turn.
Yeah.
And there's trust in the quarterback to get you the ball. So we've had, I think it was 3 straight weeks where a different pass catcher, because you include a tight end in there, in Hunter Henry, had over 100 receiving yards per game. That's why I think the passing attack, when you talk about are they going to be able to get in a shootout? There's just so many looks that Drake can give.
You know what's weird about that and so ironic? That the Bills intentionally went to an everybody eats mentality without Stefon Diggs because he was the alpha number 1.
Yeah.
And now the Patriots have an everybody eats mentality without saying it with Stefon Diggs. So it's interesting.
Let me ask you guys, how have the Patriots changed since the Bills played them in week 5? And I know the easy answers would be, well, the injuries on the left side of the line, and Milton Williams is really, really good, and he's hurt
Jared
right now.
Wilson is full practice, by the way, the left guard.
Jared Wilson. Oh, so it's basically just Campbell?
I mean, Campbell's the big one. But
it's a big one. Yeah.
Sure.
So how do you feel like they have changed? And where can they be exploited? And then, we can certainly touch on that from the Bills' perspective as far as the Patriots are concerned.
I think the big change for the Patriots has been the confidence they developed in winning in Buffalo that night, and then having a similar game plan. Now, obviously, each and every game plan is unique unto the opponent that they face. That's part of the McDaniels game plan offensive approach. But I think they made so many mistakes in the Pittsburgh game, and people were so ready to punt on the season. There they were 2-2 coming into the game against you guys. And the way in which they won that night, the whole the whole we all we need mentality that has permeated this culture. They run in complement to Drake's passing, like you pointed out, Sal. Every week is somewhere between 240 and 280 passing yards with 2 or 3 touchdowns. They don't really have much of a running game to speak of these days. Some weeks it's 110 yards tops, but it's not that dynamic. They have trouble punching it in once they get from 5 yards in, unless Drake throws the ball. But I would say mostly just their toughness, their togetherness, and the fact that they give up that early score, they come from behind, then they get the lead and they hold on to it. It's the confidence that they developed after the Week 5 win in Buffalo, to me, that has changed and presents itself pretty much every week.
What's up with the dip in the run? Like they've given up a little bit more on
Is
the
it as
ground.
simple as Milton Williams not being there?
Is it as simple as Milton Williams?
And Kyrus Tonga being hurt as well.
But he's back, right?
For the listeners, I am nodding. It is mostly Milton Williams.
Yes.
Tonga's awesome, but it was mostly Milton.
And no Ed Oliver again this week, right?
No,
correct. Probably not till the playoffs.
No Ed Oliver. Probably not until the playoffs if they get there. The one thing about the Bills is they are starting to get as healthy as they have been, even despite not having Ed Oliver and then Michael Hoyt, who is a rotational defensive end. But this week, it was Spencer Brown, their starting right tackle. He told me yesterday at practice he's going to play. Terrell Bernard, their defensive captain, he was limited. Josh Palmer, he was limited. Joey Bosa, he was limited. I think we see 2 of those 4, which I know is still only half, but it's more than they have had recently. I just keep thinking, like, Fitzy, I think when we started, you were like, that Patriots win was maybe the best they've played. I don't want to put words in your mouth. Is that what you said? It was one of the best games they've played all year?
I think it was their best game box to wire.
But can I say, let me interject here. What's funny is we talk about that. And I do think, like, again, I want to give them credit for this, because I always say every game has its own DNA. You play the team in front of you that day, not a team 2 weeks down the road, and you play the way you have to play. Sean McDermott made a really interesting comment after that game. He said, we played the game they wanted us to play. And that's what I mean by they want to muck it up and be messy. But Bills fans will point to the Bills gave them the ball inside their own red zone and gave away the ball inside the Patriots red zone, and the Patriots still needed a last-minute field goal to beat them. And that's where I think Bills fans think, okay, this team isn't better than us, right? You just can't play their game.
And I would say that's where the Patriots are very fallible right now. The red zone on both ends. They have really struggled punching the ball in on the red zone.
It's impossible. They don't ever do it, Mego.
Defensively,
really?
Yeah, defensively, it's kind of the other side of the coin.
It's
something that has become definitely a pattern over the last several games. Not always, but something to look at when you say, okay, what's the roadmap for where the Bills are going to be looking to exploit the Patriots' weaknesses? That's certainly one right now. I will say, though, for the Patriots, the way that this team has developed, what's a weakness for 3 games at a time will disappear for the next 3 games. So they do solve their problems. It just is a matter of, are you hitting them at a time where that's a problem? The red zone on either side of the ball is a problem for them.
And look at last week, you guys. I mean, in the Cincinnati game, which was a fantastic watch for all of us with the Patriots on the bye week as well. It was as good as a 1:00 game when you're raking leaves and drinking beer gets for a dad like me. I love Joe Burrow as well. Sorry that he's up in his fields this week, but it was fascinating to watch. So Benford, who is the best value contract in any secondary in the NFL right now and is impossible to throw against, he locks up Jamar Chase, who I think is the best receiver in the NFL. They just decided to go to the tight ends and T. Higgins, and Burrow is having a day, and he's feeding all day long. And then just with one play, Benford turns that script 28-25. I think I'm very curious to see where your secondary utilizes him this Sunday. That could have a significant effect, having one guy just erased. Do they try to erase Diggs? Do they keep outside, inside? Where do you think he goes?
It's a good question. I've posed it. This is what I'll say. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe we looked at the analytics. Diggs has played 50% slot and wide, but mostly slot lately. Last several games, he's mostly in the slot. I don't think they'll put Benford in the slot. Matt, you could disagree. They will it'll be Taron Johnson, and Taron Johnson's got to play better than he did last game. And a big reason why the Bengals went to those tight ends is because when the Bills play dime, Cam Lewis is the smallest defender on the field, and those were behemoths going against Cam Lewis, right? I mean, so that's what they did. It was a great job by the Bengals to figure that out. I don't think, Matt, that they would put Benford on Diggs if Diggs is in the slot.
No, I don't think so either. I think it'll be a Taron Johnson game. So like for the New England audience, that is the Bills nickel corner, who for like 3 or 4 years has been as good of a nickel corner as there is in the NFL, but this year has not been the same. He has not looked the same caliber and made the same big splash plays that we are used to seeing here in Buffalo. I think that is an area where they will be able to win. I also think this could be a big Hunter Henry day. Like I feel like he is a mismatch problem for what the Bills do. I think on the Bills side, though, with the Patriots inconsistency at running the ball, a lot of people will look at the Bills' run defense and go, oh, it's terrible. Well, it was terrible with Terrell Bernard. With Shaq Thompson, it has been substantially better. And I think that it will be a real emphasis on trying to slow down the passing offense and just living with the 4-yard gains from Travion Henderson and just trying to make big splash plays. So it feels like the Bills match up defensively much better than they did in week 5, because they also have their first round cornerback back, Maxwell Hairston, who is like very much a speed guy, fastest guy at the combine. He would have been a huge asset to have in week 5. They could not really utilize Max Hairston last week because he just gave up such a size mismatch to T. Higgins. He was just running all over everybody. But with the Patriots, the size element of it doesn't seem like it's going to be a major concern for the Bills to get like their pure athletic DBs out on the field.
It's interesting that you talk about the gains from Travion Henderson, because I don't think he's necessarily like a 4-yard gain kind of guy. He is somebody who, when he's at his best, he finds the hole and he rips it off, and he's got wheels. The tracking data from Next Gen Stats is ridiculous for him.
He's unbelievable.
See what he can do with it. Ramondre Stevenson is probably more the guy who is going to be getting you 3 to 5 yards and trying to, out-gruel the defense. So I would look at that. And obviously, going back to the very beginning of the season, the ball security for him is always a concern. So I think that that's the kind of thing that if you're the Bills, you're looking at with the Patriots, because it's kind of how other teams like the Steelers have solved them.
That Travion Henderson end of the game, who were they against when he had like those 2 huge touchdowns
Buccaneers.
at the end of the Buccaneers? So I was at Disney World. I was at Disney. He's on my fantasy football. I think Travion Henderson is elite. I have no idea why.
Awesome. Yeah.
I have no idea why it took so long to get to that point. And I was like watching Ramondre Stevenson fumble, and I'm like, what are they doing? Why is this guy still getting touches? So yeah, Travion Henderson, big play for sure. Definitely. That's something that they are susceptible to. They have given them up to some of the best guys in the NFL, but we haven't seen it in a couple weeks. So it feels like that's an area where it's getting slightly better.
Yeah, I think it's a big. Yeah, we got to. I know we got to make the predictions. I just wanted to add the last intangible, boys. The forecast calls for a high of 32. There could be flurries in the forecast, so it is football weather. No, it's Bills Patriots.
Buffalo, right?
I know it's Bills Patriots 101, which I love. The Foxborough Phantomals will be in an absolute frothy lather. I won't, maybe not Bills Mafia style, but because there is the hat and t-shirt on the line thing, expect the best theater, like the most energy you're going to get out of a crowd and a stadium that people say sometimes does not present the din or the energy you would think from a team that won 6 titles in the last 25 years.
I was reading Snow Globe somewhere here. I was going to grab it and shake it, and like, that's all right. That's what we're used to here.
I was reading Vrabel's undefeated off of the bye, 6-0 off the bye for Vrabel. Like that's, I think that's the one thing for the Bills of like the getting that team off of a bye. That's concerning, I think, tough, from the Bills' standpoint, because the teams that they have played coming off of a bye this year, they have struggled against. Like, they should have never lost to the Falcons, but they did, and it was ugly. And after the game, they were like, that looked like a team coming off of a bye, which feels like a ridiculous thing for the Buffalo Bills to say after losing to the Falcons, but it was something that they did say. So that I do think that is a element of this game that makes it an even bigger challenge for the Bills.
We got to run, but I want to ask you before we do that. Do you guys have a question for us about the Bills or anything about what's going on here?
The tight ends. Kincaid is obviously a massive asset to have back.
Yeah.
I think certainly one of the better young tight ends that can move all over the place. Is Knox going to play? Because the 2 tight end threat might really give the likes of Robert Spillane, who people say looks like Voldemort, the linebacker, Gibbons, Mapu, etc. Fitz. So are both going to play this week?
Yes, both will play this week.
You'll get all 3 tight ends. The Bills love their
and the big boy. That's right.
Hawes. He is the best blocking tight end in the league. Maybe and he's only rookie. I'm not being hyperbolic.
I did see. I'm sorry, I don't have the podcast name in front of me. That Rob Gronkowski said that he would join a practice squad for $1 million bonus.
Back to Foxborough this Sunday.
Yeah, come play against his hometown team. Right. I'm sure Bills fans would just.
And I have one more big picture question for you guys before we go.
Okay,
has Josh McDaniels put his name back in the head coach conversation after everything that's happened in the past with him, after what he's done with Drake Maye?
All I'll say is this: the first time I read, from Pete Thamel, watch out, Josh McDaniels to Michigan is building steam. I'm gonna jump in a river.
You got the endorsement from Brady, baby, right? That's what you're gonna know. That's exactly right.
I'm telling
100%,
you.
100%.
Fitzy, who do you think wins?
Oh man, this is not going to play well to the base. I think the Bills win by 3.
Mag, do you do predictions or is it saved for later in the week?
Oh, I'll do a prediction. I think this is a Patriots win.
Yeah.
I think this is a Patriots win. I think it's close, 1 score. So yeah, you can give me like 31-28, a score like that. But I just think that this is a team that takes the message and takes the game plan, and coming off of the bye, they are hungry. Like this is not a team that's worn out and tired. They got the late bye.
Yeah,
they're rested, ready to go, and they're getting a lot of guys back from injury.
Hungry like Drake May's wife has been baking for them all week long.
Then they would be very satiated.
I was going to say maybe that'll slow them down. I think that she should continue to feed them probably more and more heavy carbs. Yeah, I think it's going to be a great game. I really do. I think it's going to be a phenomenal football game, and I also don't think it's the last time they play each other this year.
Nope.
I think they're going to play each other. Sign me up. I think that. It feels like we're on a crash course for another divisional round collaboration podcast. And that is, I think, terrifying and also exciting to Bills fans, of like the Patriots lore of how much this fan base hates that team. But also trying to protect, like, hey, this is still the division here. Like, there's just so many storylines. It would be I don't think
the window has closed for the Bills. I don't think the Patriots have had a shuttle window to win and run the league or the division for 10 years either. I think we now have a legitimate, brand new born rivalry that we are going to love for the next 10 years. And the next round is on Sunday. And my wife, every morning when she wakes up, Matt, also says every day with you is exciting and terrifying. So sign me up.
I love it. I love it. Well, listen, guys, when it does happen in the playoffs, we'll do this again. It's always great to talk with you. Thanks a lot to our producer, Mike Robier, for putting it all together. We hope you enjoyed the Six Rings podcast. It's always game day in Buffalo. Thanks a lot for listening, watching, wherever you subscribe to all of our content for all 4 people on this particular discussion. Thank you again.